I think we look at these laws only when we're looking at the theory of it all, right? We don't look at the real life application of this stuff. This is just based on psychology. This is how people deal with computers on a day-to-day basis, not just websites, not just applications. When I'm looking at how a microwave works or my kitchen appliances work, or even say for that matter, how my car operates, everything is a computer. I should be able to simplify stuff for my user and say that, okay, these are my tasks, this is what I need to do, and give it to me really simple. You know, there was this principle, I don't know if you remember, it was called KISS. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was silly or
either
the last S.
Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, silly. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just talking about how can we minimize effort, right? In a world where maybe we're becoming lazier, or maybe we've got really a lot more on our plates.
I mean, we speak about these broad-based aspects of design and the psychology behind it, but you're absolutely right about these smaller things that do lead up to the bigger design itself, and there are principles governing that as well. Right, you have Hicks' law, which talks about reducing the number of choices and therefore reducing complexity within the design.
Correct.
You have Miller's law that talks about keeping information within like a set of 7 plus minus 2. And when you dig deeper into that, that is essentially just telling you as designer. These laws are just telling you as a designer that this is how you need to build up from the ground up. So these laws are essentially psychology-based laws. These laws have existed, as you obviously know, well before user experience design has existed as a field, right? And what they do essentially, they cover a wide variety of the different aspects of design. Right. I mean, to start off, we can look at like the bigger picture laws that are the example like aesthetic usability law, which, as you know, is when users perceive a design as more usable if it's more aesthetically pleasing. And then there's obviously Jacobs' law, which talks about how users spend their time on other platforms and they expect your platform to function in a manner that's similar to the ones that they are used to. Right. Now this is, like I said, now this might seem like a very broad-based, common sense way of looking at design.
What I'm seeing lately, there's a huge transition that is happening, especially in the car auto displays, right? Liquid displays. I mean, especially when Tesla has launched their cars. I mean, the central console is just a display, right? Every auto manufacturer is trying to do that, right? I don't think so. They're researching to an extent which is actually making the application of this whole thing user-friendly. I actually have to take off my eyes from the road to operate or navigate through that system. I would love to go to analog, and that's the reason I like that hybrid form where there is analog and digital. Like for critical functions where I don't need to take my eyes off the road, I like analog. Maybe that digital is still not there for me, right? So what do you think, like what should be the way to kind of understand or make it better?
I mean, then it'll just have to come back to plain old user research, right?
Right.
I mean, we don't use these laws to sort of force our design onto the users in a psychological fashion. That's not what's happening. Right. We, and I think you can agree with me on this. Now, when we start off creating a product, we start with personas, right? So we've effectively chunked a bunch of users into like one primary persona that is the one that is going to use our product, right? But within that primary persona as well, there is going to be a certain amount of subjectivity. What we are trying to do with these laws is that we are trying to make sure that a good bunch of the primary personas, right, actually resonate with what we are building. Now that obviously applies to the overall product, but then when you go into practice with these smaller laws and especially something like the complexity based laws, now that you're doing to make their life easier, right? I mean, what can you say about like Hicks' law specifically, where when we're talking about complexities of choices, complexities of different things that you have to do within the product, what would be your takeaway from that?
So most of these laws, like you're saying, Venky, is to just make life simpler for the user, right? So take any law. Let's take Hicks' law. I have two forms. I have a form where I've got 25 questions and I've got then 4 pages of like one-word answers. Which would you prefer? Right? Even aesthetic usability. It's about making stuff more tolerant. It looks nice, so I'm going to assume it works well also. It's just introducing positive feelings in a user in a way that it makes the experience better. Better, usable, easy. These are all things that we use, but essentially we want to reach a particular goal, right? We want to start from when I open a page, I would like to see what I'm here for and find it as easily possible, get out of there, get done with my work. That's the entire agenda. So all of these laws essentially are, according to us, like when we work, right? It's not outlining our work, but it's like every time we go away from it, they bring us back together. They bring us back to the point that, you know what, you're making things too cramped up. When a client comes up to us and says that, you know what, I have these 5 things that I want to do, and Divanshu, I'm sure you can, you know, when you've been on our meetings, you can agree that I want most of the stuff to fit in a single viewport. I want everything available. But it's that point where we go to them and say that, you know what, I am a human being. Don't give me 20 things to look at. Tell me one thing to do and I'll do it really well.